Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. You know, recruiting never stops. Never stops. This would have been the time of the year we would have been just like full steam ahead on recruiting as of like 5 or 8 years ago. Now, most of the hay is in the barn in the early signing period back in December, and February is just for the last couple of pieces to a class, or maybe nothing at all in some situations. So we'll talk about all of that and some more with Billy Embody, part of the Bengal Tiger family over there on 3. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Billy, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We appreciate you taking some time for us. It was a great weekend for LSU. Got a commitment on the recruiting trail. Jaboree Antoine, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Jabori Antoine is one of my favorite prospects in Louisiana next cycle, and we have him as a top 20 prospect in the country for on 3, nation's number 3 cornerback and the second ranked prospect in Louisiana in the class of 2025 behind LSU commit Harlem Berry. And what it means for LSU is they are continuing to clean up in Louisiana. They have, looking at the list right now, 6 of the top 8 in Louisiana committed already for the class of 2025 for on 3, with the other 2, James Simon and Devin Harper, 2 teammates now at Calvary Baptist, pegged on the on 3 recruiting prediction machine to land at LSU. So Corey Raymond gets a big defensive back commitment quickly since arriving back at LSU. But this one has quietly been in the works for a while now, and LSU has been making up ground enough to get him to make this early commitment. Texas was really long viewed as the threat for LSU in terms of being able to land him. They had gotten Derek Williams out of Westgate a couple cycles ago now, and LSU signed Demarion Johnson from Westgate this fall. But it was really an LSU-Texas battle, and this fall, if you asked around, you probably would have gotten differing sides on where the leader was in that recruitment, but credit to the entire coaching staff that is still at LSU for continuing to put the pedal down on Jaboree Antoine, who's a little different than a guy like Derek Williams. Derek Williams never really showed LSU much interest, never really came on visits once his recruitment kind of got into the back half. Jaboree has been constantly in Baton Rouge and spending time around with Frank Wilson and Sherman Wilson and J.R. Belton and all these different guys on staff that handle a lot of the recruiting of these guys and communicating with players. And when Corey Raymond was hired, he told me, Jaboree Antoine told me that he was the icing on the cake. And so it was kind of a matter of if he would go through with what we had kind of heard behind the scenes, which was that there was a chance he would commit on his visit to LSU this past weekend. He visited Texas right before that. And, so they had certainly pushed for him to get on board with them. But LSU had a lot of momentum behind the scenes and was able to button it up this weekend and get a massive commitment from Jaboree Antoine.
It was the Cajun Bash over the weekend. I know you all been all over it over there on the Bengal Tiger. And Keelan Moses is a name that comes up a lot. He's very present on social media. Job well done this weekend. He's kind of taken it upon himself to be kind of a leader in recruiting this class, and it's a loaded class in the state of Louisiana. Do you see that in-state group kind of starting to come together and work together on the recruiting trail?
Yeah, absolutely. And Jaboree even quote tweeted something from Terry Bussey a couple weeks ago, or maybe just a week ago, where Terry Bussey, the 5-star prospect from East Texas who's committed to Texas A&M in the class of 2024, he tweeted out a picture of him from one of his LSU visits, and Jaboree quote tweeted it and said, "What's the move?" And some of the other guys have been active recruiting, Terry for that class of 2024. So it is a 2025 class that has star power. They're the number 1 class in the country. Bryce Underwood, the number 1 overall prospect. Corey Moore, the number 4 overall prospect. Harlem Berry, a top 10 prospect for on 3. It is just a loaded group to start off 2025. And the good thing is you've got a mix of some national names, the 2 highest rated guys in Bryce Underwood and Corey Moore, both from out of state. But then you have a really strong start in Louisiana with this group, and they're all really tight from what I understand, and you could see them jumping in to help each other and help recruit and get the word out, and I think it'll pay off. I think this class has a chance to really clean up in Louisiana and make some noise, or make even more noise, I should say.
You mentioned Bussey and the fact that he's committed to A&M but has not signed yet, and he's going to have a busy week here prior to signing on the dotting line. What can you tell us time frame wise and who he's considering and where that stands as of today?
Yeah, it seems like Terry Bussey is down to LSU, Georgia, and Texas A&M. And Dante Williams, the new Georgia defensive backs coach, is a really solid recruiter. And Travaris Robinson, who is at Alabama, is now at Georgia, and he was recruiting him heavily for the Tide. So maybe Georgia has a little bit more of a chance than probably most people are thinking. But for the most part, we like to think it's an LSU A&M battle here, and LSU will get an unofficial visit this week when he will come to campus on Wednesday. Brian Kelly's expected to go in home pretty soon here, and then Texas A&M does get him on campus this weekend for the final official visit, and they get a fresh official visit with the coaching change in College Station. So they'll get one more chance to impress him, and this is a tough one to read in a way because there's some buzz around what LSU has done, and there's a lot of good reason for that. But this is also a guy that has stayed committed to Texas A&M. He hasn't backed off of that pledge like other guys did in that class, and whether they jump back in or not for Mike Elko, but he's one that has stayed committed even though he didn't sign during the early signing period. So LSU's got a shot here. They got to keep working it. They've been trying to, stay in position to potentially take advantage of the coaching change in College Station. And Terry's going to give them one more look on Wednesday. And I think by the weekend, we would probably have a better idea of where things stand once he visits College Station and the dust kind of settles from that. Just an opportunity for him to get around that staff again.
We're talking about the class of 2024 here, and I know that you all unrolled a different ranking system, the final ranking system for the 2024 class, and there were some big movers from LSU in that one. What can you tell us about the way that your industry is evaluating some of LSU's signees?
Yeah, somebody asked me about this on the Bengal Tiger. What did I think about the final update? And quite honestly, it fell in line with kind of how I felt with a lot of these guys. We saw Trades Green get his 5th star in the final rankings, and he's in the top 32. And then Dominic McKinley moved back up into that 5-star range at number 24. And Weston Davis, who was a 5-star for On 3 very early on, finished as a 5-star right ahead of McKinley. And so those all made sense to me. They've all got traits. They've all got production, and a lot to like about them. So LSU finishes with 3 5-stars for On 3, which has LSU as the number 3 class in America right now. And then Gabriel Relaford continued to move up a little bit, closing out as the number 50 overall prospect. On 3's higher on him than any other recruiting service. And then the big mover I would highlight is Kylan Billiot, who had an awesome All-American Bowl in San Antonio and really showed that despite him being a tough eval, being relatively new to the sport, still developing from that basketball background to kind of not having maybe the quarterback play you'd want out there at Terrebonne, as well as even some crazy weather games that he just kind of was unable to stack up some stats. He went into San Antonio and just put on a really solid performance. And so he landed just outside the top 100, and he finished as a top 20 wide receiver. And for the most part, there wasn't too many surprises. And there's guys you could probably say, okay, I would have maybe had him a little bit higher. Like I probably would have had McKinley above Weston Davis just because I think he's dominated just a little bit more. But I mean, that's just kind of a difference of opinion. But you're still talking about 2 5-stars, so you're splitting hairs there. So it was a pretty good update for LSU and secures yet another top 5 class for Brian Kelly.
Billy, I know it's going to be a busy week and a half here. We'll be locked into the Bengal Tiger. We appreciate some time.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
He is Billy Embody over there at On 3 with the Bengal Tiger. He and Shay will be burning up the phone lines for the next week and a half, trying to figure out where things stand with Terry Bussey and the rest of the crew. But as you mentioned right there, really good update for LSU from the on-3 side of things with some of their prospects and how they finish up. Top 5 class for Brian Kelly and company, and this is not a monster year in the state like it is coming up next year, and LSU's already got 6 of the top 8 players in the state committed in that class. So a lot of really, really good news on the recruiting trail, and that's the way Brian Kelly's trying to get this thing done. You're going to use the transfer portal. It's there, but he wants to build the foundation of this team and the backbone of this program through the high school recruiting ranks, and it starts with the state of Louisiana. So we appreciate Billy for checking in with us. It seems like a lot of good things going on with LSU football right about now. And I was thinking about this as he was talking, some of the real threats in recruiting the state of Louisiana. Corey Raymond in Gainesville is a threat there. Bo Davis in Austin is a threat there. They're wearing purple and gold now. There's fewer to fight off, it seems like, in terms of guys who really have a track record of recruiting in the state of Louisiana. And now LSU's got a staff full of guys that have done this for a long, long time. So appreciate Billy for coming on, giving us a little bit of time. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.